Now, tomorrow, thousands of people across Wales will be heading to polling stations to cast their votes in the Assembly and Police and Crime Commissioner elections. However, it's being claimed that disabled people are being treated like second-class citizens when it comes to casting their vote. The organisation Disability Wales says many people with physical, sensory and learning disabilities are being let down by the voting process. The author and campaigner Melanie Davis has this special report.
Tomorrow, thousands of us will go to our nearby polling station to vote. But for many disabled people, the democratic process isn't that simple. According to the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, disabled people should not be disadvantaged when it comes to casting their votes. And local authorities have a duty to make sure that polling stations such as this are fully accessible for everyone. But that's not always the case. In last year's general election, Damian tried to vote at his local polling station here in the Vale of Glamorgan.
The polling booth is set too high for somebody in a wheelchair, to the point where I actually had to ask somebody to come and help me use the polling station. They just didn't understand that actually your vote should be a private affair.
In Wales, disabled people make up over 20% of the voting age population. But last year, a survey found that almost a quarter of them experienced difficulties voting in person in the general election. That's something Nikki and Marilyn know all about. They both need visual aids to help them put their cross in the box.
We went to get my ballot paper and I asked for the tactile device which is supposed to help me to vote. They didn't know what I wanted. They couldn't find one in their box. So I said, well, I'll have to take my support worker in with me, and of course there's no privacy.
I've opted for postal vote this year, but I couldn't put it back in the envelopes because you have to fold it a certain way. You have to make sure envelope A's got voting slip A. And it's all just a huge inconvenience for something that is so simple and can be made so simple.
Across Wales, charities are working hard to make sure the voices of disabled people are heard.
Things have come on quite a bit. We've seen major improvements over the years, yet quite often disabled people are left to feel like a second-class citizen. And we want to see radical action taken by national government and locally to ensure that all accessible polling stations are available to all disabled people and that disabled people can access and cast their votes along with everybody else.
Would you know what this was about?
Charlie is one of 65,000 people in Wales who have learning difficulties. In the last Assembly elections, only 1 in 5 people with a learning disability voted.
I will be voting because on the ballot papers the words are too long to understand and it's no pictures. Make it easier for me for the ballot papers is explain a bit more about how to do it.
Many of the decisions that affect disabled people are made by elected politicians, but charities say there are still inequalities in the voting system, denying disabled people the right to a private, independent vote.